for second place, $600 for first. In the top left-hand side, our red Terran player. Last time on Thunderbird, he opened up gasless and died to 2 Rex Reaper. In the top left, this is GuMiho. In the bottom right, our blue Terran player just missed out on a win against GuMiho earlier, but looked real good against Fantasy. This is Cure. Can he find revenge? It's about time we find out as we get this underway and started up. Game 1 of our grand finals of the WardiTV Summit Championship. Refinery is going to finish in a moment or two, and Cure is going to be dropping the barracks down in the main base. So getting that up, getting that running. As you will see, the barracks here from GuMiho starting up in the main base as well. Getting that ready to go. So get that started. The refinery is about to finish up. And Thunderbird is going to be our map of battle for game number 1 of this series. Yeah, let us know who you're cheering on, guys. Let us know who you want to see winning this out. And as we do get this going, barracks is going to complete in a moment or two. So that's going to be finishing up here momentarily. We see this SCV on the bottom right popping out in a second or so as well. Cure just sending his first SCV up across the map. I mean, SCV Scout from Cure, he loves this because of, well, the reason we saw before. He's so good at the Reaper Micro. It has won him multiple games today. It won him the first 2 games against Fantasy. The first Reaper getting some, picking off the Reaper of his opponent. It won him the first 2 games against Fantasy. Won him a game against GuMiho straight up earlier as well. In fact, I'd say every game that Cure has won today has been based off of Reapers, because even the games where he didn't win off of picking off the first Reaper, he won with 2 Rax Reaper. So, Cure has been a Reaper madman today. Let's see if he keeps it up, as he will just go 1 Reaper into a Reactor, it would seem. Reaper into Marine from GuMiho. That's so smart, because it gives him that extra unit in case he loses the fight. So, it just makes sense when you're playing against someone like Cure who has been taking advantage of this all day long. And if GuMiho was watching that last series, he should be able to identify that, of course, and recognize, oh, okay, I see how this is going. I recognize what's happening here. As you do see this Reaper of GuMiho down to the bottom right side is going to run straight into that Reaper of Cure, as these guys are going to fight it out. And actually, GuMiho is still going to manage to lose, although he will actually just jump away and stay away. So he keeps the Reaper alive on 3 hit points, and that's the most important part of all for the moment. Reaper back around through the centers. We do see 2 Hellions on the way up from Cure as well, so getting those going. Starport dropping down in the main base. The Reaper continuing to move around, and yeah, this command center just setting up into an orbital. The Starport is coming up to being about halfway done. Tech Lab about to finish on this barracks. Hellion pops. Hellion number 2 going to be cancelled, and actually will choose to put the factory onto the Tech Lab, so we'll move into a little bit of a different setup. Was expecting maybe the Starport to go there, but instead we'll build a Cyclone. Probably build a Tech Lab of his own on the Starport, because a Raven is still a pretty typical choice at this stage. A Reaper and 2 Hellions at the front make that 2 more as well, so 4 Hellions in total already. As Cure will set up on top of this ramp and just get set to perhaps go across the map here. Try and see what he can do. Taylor with the $20 donation comes in and says, thanks for the tournament. Thank you so much for supporting the tournament. Thank you so much for the $20. Much appreciated. Get some love in the chat for that. Thank you so much, Taylor. And I mean, that's a donation name that I can get behind as well. That's not, all these weird letters combined that I can't say as words. Taylor's a name I can say. It's a double appreciation for the donation. Thank you, dude. Appreciate it with $20. As you see the medevac, 4 Hellions inside of it, coming around the top side. Looking to boost into the main base here. SCVs gonna have to start pulling away as GuMiho is gonna lose a couple at least. Is pretty quick to respond. The Banshee here as well, and it's a lock onto the medevac, which just, decides to boost back across this way. Means those Hellions are stuck. Only 2 Hellions left actually means damage is unlikely to be done. That's a good cleanup from GuMiho. Yeah, 6 workers, but it's a lot of minerals and gas. There's 500 minerals, 100 gas going down. Okay, Hellions maybe don't do great continuing on from this stage. There's also a couple more SCVs going off. What was that? Just another... Was that just the Reaper that picked up a couple of kills? Must have been. Wow. Nokia does take a 7-worker lead. GuMiho is much faster on the 3rd CC in location, though, so that's going pretty well. As we do see the Liberator, the tank, on the way up. CC building on the 3rd base. Banshee does it from GuMiho as well. Also a great way to potentially get some damage done to come back into this a little bit here. So far, though, just pops in, gets that SCV, and gets out of there. I mean, in a way, it kind of works, right? Because they keep the Banshee safe for a little bit. GuMiho did show some pretty interesting styles of play in TvT in the Super Tournament, so we'll see if that comes back in this series as well. Currently just the one Cloakless Banshee, and now Viking production coming into play as well. I'm going to have to mute myself to cough for a moment, guys. Apologies, my throat's acting up a little bit today, apparently. As we do see this Liberator of Kua heading up to the top right-hand side. Marine hanging out on the watchtower. 2 more factories from GuMiho into the main base. And yeah, this Liberator coming straight through the top side. Going to head towards the main base in the next few moments, as we do have a Marine of GuMiho out to the right. Tanks pressing forward from Kua. We're going to see this Banshee picking away at a couple of Marines. So a couple of Marines going down so far. Cyclone locks on, and that's going to be a dead Banshee as well. So good cleanup. We'll see those tanks of Kua go into siege and come back over to the right-hand side. And a couple of extra Vikings on the way up on the starport as well. This army of Kua, Marine tank Viking, pushing up the right side. He's going to get up to the top here very shortly. 1 Marine holding the watchtower at the moment. Kua looking to be aggressive. GuMiho building a 4th CC in location. He's not scared at all. 2 more armories. GuMiho playing mech against this bio of Kua. For the first time today, we're going to have a bit of a differentiation in styles in this TvT. We have pretty much only seen Marine tank on Marine tank today, so 1 player playing mech really does switch that up. Double armory about to be in play for them double upgrades. GuMiho has to survive the next couple of moments, though, and with multiple tanks sieging and air control on his side, that should be okay. A couple of Vikings will go to harass. Kua just going to sacrifice air control to maybe get some damage done, pull GuMiho around a bit. In fairness, there is absolutely nothing in that natural expansion, so this should be a little bit of damage done. 1, 2 SCVs already going down, make that 3. 4th SCV going to get picked off as well. GuMiho is actually going to land the Vikings and make a push forwards here, meanwhile. Gets 1 tank. The rest of Kua's army is going to back off from this. Those Vikings of Kua landing. Still pressing forwards, trying to get a tank kill. GuMiho saves it. Good save. 4 SCVs and mining time lost here. GuMiho overall holds on, though, because he takes some good trades, and I think that puts him in a good spot. 4th CC being up for him is crazy, considering he's playing mech here against Bio. He is on a way faster expansion, so this is amazing for GuMiho already. Couple Cyclones, the Vikings, tanks all coming out the front now. As this army of Kua is still spreading out, some to the left, a few Marines up in the center. See what happens. Tanks all the way around the left-hand side, going to be ready to push in a moment or two, perhaps, in towards this forward 4th base. SCV goes down, sense turret soon to follow. First wave of SCV is getting picked away at very easily and very quickly. That Planetary Fortress is taking a bit of a beating as well. There's a couple of extra tanks still sieging up, and a couple of them went down. These Vikings fighting, doing a good job also. I mean, a few SCVs dropping, but I don't think GuMiho's too upset about that. Lands to clean up the tanks as well. And I think GuMiho's got to be pretty happy with how this went, actually, because he can afford a few SCVs. The fact his 4th base is already up is just amazing for him, right? And yeah, you know, the Terran player, the Bio player trying to do some damage is pretty typical in this sort of Bio versus mech matchup, so that's not really much of a surprise at all, as you're going to be seeing those couple of medevacs loading up units, and they're going to be boosting up to the top side here in towards that 3rd CC. These Vikings are very quick to shut this down, though. Secure will not get anything done there. Wow, what a defense from GuMiho. What a position to be in. I guess when your sensor tower is here and you see everything from the left forward and to the slight right, where can you be dropped? I mean, maybe up this pathway here where we've got missile turret coverage, or over here, and GuMiho was in position immediately, and that was a big shutdown. Huge shutdown, in fact. Two tanks continuing back for the moment. We're going to be seeing the extra factories in production. More starports being built as well by GuMiho. So we're setting up for the later stages already. Getting into those air wars here in this TvT. And I would say this first game has already been better than the entire initial series that these guys played against each other previously as well. So I imagine that this is perhaps going to be a real series to watch now in this grand final matchup. Marine of GuMiho out through the top. Rest of this army in the center, and just going to see the fusion core about to complete. +1 ship weapons, +2 vehicle plating. On the way up on the armories, and a little bit of bio is going to push forwards here. This tank inside there. This tank here from GuMiho going to get sieged up. Fusion core completes, and again, T2 upgrades not far from finishing. The command center is being built. I mean, Kyo's just going command center crazy, which is kind of the right thing to do as well. Just really get those CCs online, get mules pumping. Just take bases all over the place. Hey, look at GuMiho though, he has the fusion core down. That's actually going to not be for liberated range like I was expecting. It's going to be for battle cruisers. BC so quickly is really quite insane. I mean, you can see here, fusion core came up from Cure, and this is the expected pathway, right? You keep on going in towards those Vikings, get the air control, get liberators with range, and you can do a lot. You can even trade well against Thors that get added in. But to go straight to BCs, I mean, in that case, you have to make sure you win the air fight, because if you lose the air fight, you've invested so much into the air fight, it's not going to end well for you. But if you win the air fight, those BCs will clean up everything, so GuMiho, a bit of a roll of the dice, I'd say, actually, because suddenly building BCs out of nowhere is dangerous. But if there was ever a map to just straight up build BCs on, it would absolutely be Thunderbird. Because obviously it is very easy to defend multiple bases. That said, Kira is really abusing Thunderbird right now by going into the 5th and 6th base at the same time. So he's really taking the whole map of economies. So Kira's really getting himself set up here quite nicely as we see this command center dropping down at the top, morphing into a planetary. I mean, GuMiho's basically doing what Kira just did only a couple of minutes later. And he had extra CCs already up here as orbitals. I mean, no rush for GuMiho to take these bases. Better slow and steady than too fast and losing out for no real reason, right? And it is, again, the bio player who has the ability and the possibility to shut down those bases a lot more easily than the meching player. So that really just is a consequence of the stars that both of the players are taking into this later stage of the TvT. And you see a lot of upgrades continue to come on through here. Now GuMiho Magfield Accelerator, he's getting +3 armor for the well, air and the mech weapon units. +2 ship weapons as well from both sides is pretty similarly timed. He's even getting a Corvid reactor, so once add some Ravens to play. Ravens are huge against anything when the battle cruisers are coming out, because the BCs, they do a lot of attacks very quickly, so every little bit of anti-armor you can get on your opponent is amazing, because it means every one of those very quick attacks then benefits from it. I mean, they attack what? Every 0.16 second, right? So that's obviously really fast. Really, really fast. Something like, I guess, 6 and 2/3 times in a second, sorry. So, and you know, every little bit of extra armor that you're fighting with goes a long way to increasing that, and that's obviously ridiculous. So that's why the Ravens are likely to be a big inclusion here from GuMiho in the next little while. Helene in the back, going to get picked off. This army from Kira is ridiculous too, though. 24 Vikings in play. And again, remember, he's down without battle cruisers, but he also has 5 liberators, and well, we see 5 more Vikings on the way from GuMiho. Thor's being added into play as well. We know how good they can be against anti-air units nowadays. We see them used a lot, even in the mech TvP games we saw this weekend in the Super Tournament. Thor's turned out to be pretty useful in those games. This base goes down. GuMiho will be denied the left-hand side, which I don't necessarily think is a problem. The anti-arm missile strikes, but there'll be no capitalizing on that. The BCs are just flying across the map. They're going to find, I mean, a couple of liberators flying through the middle of the map, a sense tower. And I mean, there's nothing to defend these BCs, and obviously they get into trouble. They're just going to teleport straight out of here. So what a play by GuMiho, just straight down the center of the map, and they're going to find a ton of SCVs. 10 workers down. He might get the planetary fortress if he sticks around for it. Instead, he's going to go to the right side. His Vikings are here. He wants to intercept that Viking count of his opponent, it would seem. He sees that here. He's going to go take this fight. He flies the BCs and they get Matrix, which also means they can't teleport away, but the anti-armor missile goes down. And suddenly Kira is starting to back away from this. GuMiho is going to take the fight, has a plating upgrade advantage. Never mind the fact he's fighting with the anti-armor missile on his opponent's units. And here we go, the BC's coming back in. They're going to find a Raven pretty quickly. An auto turret goes down. BC is going to help a lot against those anti-armored Vikings, as there's a couple Yamatos. Target fires the no anti-armor Vikings as well with those Yamatos. So GuMiho takes a great fight with this. One BC left, though. This was expensive for GuMiho, and rebuilding will take a little while. That one last BC should be looking to teleport out of here if it needs to, because there is no reason it shouldn't be able to get out, right? There's no interference matrix or anything set up, as it'll teleport back over to deal with the Liberators. What time for this BC to show up? I mean, Liberators will deal some damage. I wonder if that was actually just a bit of good fortune, actually. Tanks firing away at Orbital and a Planetary, taking a lot of damage. Planetary's going to die. SCV repair is not enough. So many siege tanks here. Secure loses his right-hand side base. This battlecruiser, meanwhile, is continuing to try and defend here. This Planetary force looks as though it will go down. So the central fourth base of GuMiho is lost, but he is pushing for more damage over here, and right now outranging a Planetary fortress. I mean, this Planetary is dead as well, so both players are going to be set back to the 4 bases across the bottom and top sides of the map. What a game this is turning out to be. Game 1 of this best of 5 grand final. SCV is going to get down to that bottom side here. We will see a tank. Pulse just going to clean up these refineries, and I mean, get the SCVs as well. Why the heck not? May as well clean those up. You know, may as well just, you know, make sure the SCVs don't get back to mining at all. This battlecruiser never got repaired. 23 kills on it as it looks for the potentially further damage. Does have a Yamato ready as well, remember. Vikings are going to find it. Has to teleport, and it teleports straight away. Strength of that battlecruiser. Now GuMiho having some extra BCs again as Q is trying to rebuild his Viking count. 18 Vikings to 29. Does have 6 Liberators in the mix. There's also 2 Thors here, though, from GuMiho, which should help a lot against those units as well. And here we go. Anti-armor missile. This time will go on to GuMiho's army, but sheer numbers might just make the difference this time around anyways. Liberators are doing a good job of holding this back for the moment, but that's not going to last forever because the air control is GuMiho's. So, yeah, he'll lose a couple of tanks, etc. But now these Liberators are going to get picked off, and that's the Raven going down as well. And that's Kyo losing way too much, and without the economy to really rebuild it because of what he's lost throughout this game. I mean, again, he is trying to take a 5th base in the bottom left as an orbital. That will not last long once GuMiho gets wind of it, so looks as though we probably have a victor for game 1 here. GuMiho looking to pick up the first map in this TvT, and again, I would say this first game was better than the entire series we saw between these guys in the winner bracket finals. This grand final truly shaping up to be Viking Wars in game 1 on Thunderbird. Another large map here. Let's see what happens. Our Red Terran player on the top left-hand side sends his SCV onto the map. From Psystorm Gaming up 1-0, GuMiho. Playing against the blue Terran player in the bottom right side, Kua. Game 2 of the best of 5 will be Proxy Rax Reaper from GuMiho. I feel like that's brave. Proxy Rax Reaper and Kua, who's been so good on Reaper Micro today. Let's see what happens. First, barracks down on the right. Dropping that down, getting that going. Second one will be soon to follow here, so getting that down as well, setting it up, and just going to be seeing the first barracks from Kua. No second gas. So Kua is on a bit of a build order disadvantage. Now he will SCV scout, so he will see the lack of a barracks here. This is a larger map. I'm not sure if he sees that before he puts down his CC. I think he does just see it before he puts down the CC. And then you go into defense mode. That's when you have to say, okay, probably bunker. And the 2 hop-up locations. This hop-up location is very far away. You have to go a long way around to jump up there. So that's less of a problem. Just going to see that second barracks about to finish from GuMiho. Yeah, Kyo's going to come up. He's going to see it now. Just in time to pull up 1 bunker, 2 bunker. So fancy going for this kind of a defense earlier wasn't enough. Let's see what GuMiho's Reaper control looks like to try and take this game number 2. This SCV comes back. Down to the low ground. It's going to bunker the low ground, interestingly. Alright. Interesting start, as you're going to see the Reaper. Reaper Kyo takes a few shots, but there is a bunker, so not the end of the world. His bunkers were pretty quick here, so GuMiho really is just happy to sit back here. I mean, the bunker's kind of nice because it means he can put hurt Reapers into it to guarantee they'll get back to healing if it gets chased down or so. And GuMiho just starts to expand really fast off the 2-Rax Reaper. Typically, you would go factory and then expand much later, you know, in like a minute or two. But he just expands really quickly here. Lifts up his rack, stops building Reapers at 3. It's a really low commitment setup here from GuMiho, and Kira is proxying a starport top side. But actually, because he stopped the Reaper production earlier, this factory is nice and quick as well. I don't really foresee this starport getting too much damage done. Feels like there should be a Cyclone. A nice timing to try and shut that down, actually. Focus here, dealing some shots. Barracks continues to fly down in towards further into the main base. Hellion join up together. Barracks taking some damage. There we go. Coming out through the top. Starport from Kira. Finishing up a tech lab here in a moment or so, and that will be a cloak. Marines damaging his racks at the moment, so getting that ready to roll. Barracks taking damage. Tank starts up from Kira. His CC building as well, but so delayed compared to GuMiho, so it does feel like GuMiho's gotten into a good position here early. I mean, Kira should know the position he's getting into because he's like, okay, well, I never really saw that many Reapers. You really did kind of sit back and stop quite quickly. That Reaper will chase for the SEV and will get back to its bunker. It's a nice pickoff. Cyclone coming out of the factory currently, so that production will start. This Reaper from GuMiho going around to the top. We'll actually spot the Cloak Banshee on the way up here, and that's such a nice scout. I mean, suddenly, Engineering Bay drops instantly, starts a Raven. I'm not sure if he was going to go into that anyways, but just the confirmation and knowing now you have to be kind of, even just the mental preparation. We talk about this a lot, but it's really true. The mental preparation of, oh, you know, I've got to, you know, this is coming. I know it's coming. I'm ready for it. It means you're just then a couple slight seconds faster maybe at responding. Your unit's in that slightly better position from the start. Typically means you defend better, but this first Banshee, this wasn't expected going in towards the natural. It was a good loop around from Kira saying, well, if you're expecting it, it'll be in the main base. Now, that was a good play, and that's a scan that won't get a kill, I don't think. Double Cyclone? Okay, double Cyclone lock-on is good. I thought that Banshee was a bit further south than it was, and it wouldn't have. I think it would have survived one more. If it was already out, it would have survived. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying it very well. I'll shut up because an attack is coming in from Kira. I feel like if it was a bit further south, it would have survived. It would have not taken the final hit. Anyways, Kira now pushing 33 to 17 army supply. His advantage there at the moment. Then, I mean, tank is up from GuMiho. How do you break this? I mean, it's going to be so difficult. The Cyclone's looking to come in. The Cyclones lock on the Marines. There's the Raven. That's very nicely done, and that should be a shutdown. Loses 7 SCVs in the process. I think that's fine because overall you're only a couple of workers down. Banshee in the main base. As long as you don't let these Banshees do too much more, it's still okay because you're in reach of your opponent's economy. GuMiho now going into his own counter-cloak Banshees. He knows that Kira is not building Ravens. He comes over here and checks. I mean, that's still Banshee production. So Cloak Banshees from GuMiho is actually quite a play. Raven starts from Kira, but it's on the wrong side of the map, so he will have to save up scans. He will have to use those to defend the Banshee. Yeah, I like it from GuMiho. What a choice. It makes perfect sense given the way that this game is going. It makes perfect sense. Banshee around the bottom side. Scan from GuMiho drops into the main. Cyclone, a couple of Marines are seen. Not a lot of information to really pick up on there. Banshee, Cyclones, Raven. Out in the Naturalist. Banshee backing away up the left, and there's going to be seeing another factory dropping. Kira going to play mech this time. Wow. He's guy's really changing it up game to game at the moment. This probably might be mech on, well, I say probably might be. It is going to be mech on mech. Double factory from GuMiho, so we're going to see some mech versus mech TvT. Q is going mech field accelerator. GuMiho is going infernal pre-igniter, so even kind of different styles of TvT. This Banshee's cloak, you can see the preparation of this from Q. 2 Cyclones, multiple Marines, and GuMiho will just kill what he can. Target down a few Marines, but dove a little bit too far forwards there. The Cyclones, okay, get a second scan. This the lock-on was split, which isn't good if they run out of the first scan and you don't have another, but he did have another, and that is going to be both of those Banshees cleaned up. Very nicely done. Good defense by Kua here. In this game, 50 to 54 workers, slight army supply differences, both playing mech. We could be getting into another long one, actually, as we do have the Marines and the Cyclones coming around the top. Tech Lab will go down. Cyclones down the right. We'll see the Marine of Q able to pick up a kill. Hellions are going to be able to grab a Marine as well. It's a job well done, as we do see the Hellion of GuMiho heading in towards the third base here. Infernal Pre-Igniter starting up on the factory. Hellions, Banshee, Raven joining up with the rest of this army from GuMiho. Continuing to gather this together. As you do see a couple of extra Hellions continue to join up here as well, so setting that up. This Raven of GuMiho going to come forwards and is going to be looking to drop down the Matrixes. Double Matrix down, auto turret drops as well. Missile turrets, auto turrets, sorry, will also be dropping here as Hellbat's pressing into this. I mean, the Raven, auto turrets and Matrixes were good from GuMiho. Is it enough to break through this? It might be. The Hellbats are so tanky. Wow, it really is, and there's only a couple Cyclones now. One tank a bit further back that's left, but he's going to at least get a refinery. I mean, he won't break through to end the game or anything like that, but he will get far enough forward to deal some damage to this mineral line, and Kira's taken losses. Big losses at that. Banshees get scanned out. They don't go down. No way do they not get out of range. That's a scan from Kira that now doesn't actually pick up anything as well. Kira's floating money that he's not spending as well. Damage being put out on towards this command center, and well, these SCVs have to start repairing it, but obviously that's SCVs off from mining, and it's SCVs spending money or not making money. 2 Banshees shot down by the Cyclones. Good kill there. Kira picks up the double kill. Mikefield accelerated from GuMiho, looking to power up his own Cyclones here as his reinforcements streaming across the map. 20 army supply lead. Took that forward third base instead of the third base on the high ground like Kua did. Yeah, and I think Kua's like, well, actually, what do I do with the Raven? He drops an auto turret, it's not going to do much. Matrixes means he has to move his own army forwards, and he doesn't have enough Matrixes to really make that a worthwhile trade, and I feel like GuMiho's position is very hard to break. I like the counterattack from Kua. Oh, is he coming around the back? I don't like the attack around the back as much. I like the idea of counterattacking and shutting down reinforcements. I feel like this doesn't go as well for you, because now you're kind of getting sandwiched by the units you drew in and the reinforcements. Kua has to lift up that third CC. Might just be time to give up this position, take this position for the third base, right? Because then GuMiho has to completely reset his, siege up, and you can maybe get the head up on that, or the kind of the get ahead, the one kind of move ahead. Anything with the word ahead in is what I'm trying to say right now, apparently. And if you can do that, that's obviously really great. And I think that's probably the best choice rather than trying to mine from this third base or this right-hand side location. Banshee in the main, oh my god. Forced to scan, I mean, it was basically out of energy anyways, so these Banshees have consistently found so much damage as GuMiho is looking so good to perhaps take this to a 2-0 lead. Not over yet, but it is definitely starting to become problematic here from Kua. And you can see he's going to move. Okay, he actually had a 4th CC. He's going to move down to this low ground. Like I said before, it's going to be difficult for GuMiho to take over that position because Kua's already established here. GuMiho doesn't have like a lot of push potential left in this army, right? He doesn't have Ravens or anything left with energy. Never Cloak Banshee finds its way into the natural, where there is a couple of Vikings just stood waiting. Banshee's going to start getting shot at and going to take some damage, decides just to leave it because it's going to go down anyways, so just gets another worker kill or so. GuMiho's army recollects on the right hand side, more units reinforcing across the map. Kua covers the front base, and now that GuMiho's backed away from the right side, Kua can re-establish and go back up to 4 bases altogether. Great patience by Kua. Not overcommitting to a fight. Just slowly working around this, and while obviously it was good for GuMiho to keep mining throughout, Kura ends up in a position now where at least he has established himself on 4 bases. He's going to be a bit behind in production. GuMiho's taking the opportunity now to add on even more factories. He's going 8 factories, by the way, which is like full-on kill move. This isn't like, oh, you know what, I'm going to build, like, you know, my extra starports and go later game. This is like, oh, I want to outnumber you. I want to outmass you. So GuMiho smells blood in the water, but I'm not sure what he can do now, because now you can see that Kura is kind of just set up on both bases. I mean, obviously GuMiho can start expanding elsewhere as well, but if you're just looking to expand elsewhere and contain, well, that's when switching into air makes the most sense, right? Because that's going to be what really follows through really well the later the game goes on. So a few different questions there, as we will see. Army of GuMiho around the right side. Army sat in the center as well. Smart servos coming up. 2 extra Vikings in production. We're going to try and fight this here with the ability of the Cyclones. Kura is pushing. Hey, GuMiho's so out of position, guys. I mean, there is nothing defending this forward base. He's actually going to go left. He's going to take the watchtower. I mean, maybe he just comes up here and takes this base. GuMiho went orbitals everywhere, so a little bit greedy, and he might pay for that. This might be a base trade even, because GuMiho might not find a way back home. Yeah, I mean, yeah, GuMiho's just going to go for the base trade. Who wins the base trade in this scenario? I don't even know. What's better, Tank Hellbat or Cyclone Tank Hellbat? Well, I mean, Kura does have the air control, it would seem, as he pushes forwards. GuMiho's losing a lot. I don't think this base trade is good for GuMiho at all. You can see these tanks to Kura are going crazy on this ramp. What a hold! Oh my god, Kura's going to kill everything at GuMiho. GuMiho's falling apart. His natural expansion is still falling as well, but these tanks, absolute MVPs on this upper right side. And meanwhile, GuMiho loses his natural. He's starting to lose the forward base. Oh, what a play by Kura. What a defense. Patience, calm, keeps it together, and is able to draw it out to a position where in the top left-hand side, tied up 1-1. Our red Terran player is Kura. Bottom right-hand side, felt like he had that one under control, but falls apart. GuMiho, see how he responds to that loss. Getting into a little bit more of a compact map now. A little bit more difficult to just play super greedy into... You can take bases easily enough on Disco, let's not lie. These 4 bases are set up very nicely to defend, and actually really just allow mech play to prosper. So we might even see more mech play going into this game number 3. But it is a bit smaller. It is a bit more compact, and that makes certain styles a little bit better as well. The one thing about Bio is it's kind of weird where, you know, if a mech player attacks on a large map, you've got a lot of time to backstab and counter-stab. Whereas if a mech player attacks on a smaller map, you really have to be quick on the get-go. Because if you don't go right away, they're going to be on your base and suddenly you're not dealing damage fast enough to make them turn around, to make them reconsider, etc, etc. SCV of Kura down the bottom right. He loves to scout. He is going 1 gas, so the scout is expected here. Lets him know if it's a 2-Rax Reaper or not. Lets him know if he should build that CC on the low ground. You can see he's at a 400 minerals, but he won't drop it until he gets confirmation. So this is actually a little bit of a late scout, basically. As he pops the SCV up, now he will see barracks in factory, and now he knows, okay, safe to put down the command center. So puts it down after the factory, and that is, again, he's just really waiting for confirmation to make sure this is not proxy 2-Rax Reapers. So Kura playing safe, playing cautious. As we are going to be seeing this Reaper of GuMiho heading up to the top side of the map, looking to see what they can achieve in the next moment or two. Going through the dance floor. GuMiho is going to proxy his starport real quick here, by the way. So this is not your typical 2 gas into pull out of gas and start to expand just a little bit later. This is a really committed attack from GuMiho. Really, this one does need to get a little bit of damage done because your CC will be that much later. because you're really committed to the 1-1-1 here. So that's something Kira didn't stick around to find out at all anyways. He just poked in, okay, Rax Factory, cool, leaves. So this is not the normal kind of go-to at all. Kira is going to re-scout. This is such an important scout from Kira because it really, really lets him see, oh my god, no command center. And that immediately tells him he did not pull out of gas, and if he didn't pull out of gas, he knows suddenly there should be a starport somewhere. Even better, he gets up into the main, but he doesn't really get to see the production anyways. But it should tell Kira, hey, be a little bit safe, be a little bit cautious. That scout pays off well for him. Thank you, Robert Thari, by the way, for the 100 bits. Happy Monday. Right back at you, buddy. Thank you so much for the 100 bits, as always. 2 Reapers and a Hellion joined up by 1 more of each. As GuMiho has a starport, is building that Liberator nice and early. There's not a lot of anti-air out. A Viking being made. Secure is responding to the threat of potentially a proxy starport. We're going to see the Liberator will siege to... Well, he's getting a Marine. Not quite. SCV pulls away from the depot as well. I love it. Rebuilds the depot. Keeps that going. This time the Marine is dead center on that Liberation's target zone. Hellions and Reapers jump up on the front as well at the same time. And GuMiho is going to get cleaned up. Kira is going to hold that off. 3 SCVs lost. The Viking kills the Liberator. Really, really good hold by Kira here. Only losing 3 workers and obviously comes out a base ahead for the moment. You can see down here the CC is still just building. The starport's going to lift and leave and Kira starts up the Cloak Banshees again. When there's no Ravens in play, Cloak Banshees are very powerful. The reason we haven't seen Cloak Banshees a lot lately is because Ravens were a massive part of the TvT metagame. But now that they're not part of the TvT metagame as much, the Banshees are really popular again. And in a scenario like this, when the starport is flying home, Cloak Banshees are probably one of the best decisions you can go for because they are... A Cloak Banshee is almost guaranteed damage, right? Because at the very least, you're going to have to scan to clean it up. And it's very unlikely one scan will get the job done unless you mess up. Oh, if one scan gets the job done, you're probably going to deal some SCV damage anyway. So it's pretty much a guaranteed way to deal damage while being ahead. Will generally typically just put you that little bit further ahead and keep you in a good spot here. Especially someone like GuMiho, where this attack didn't work out early on here at all. That's a dead Viking, perhaps. Especially when the attack didn't work out early for GuMiho. You don't want to blindly build an engineering bay and missile turrets because if there is no Cloak Banshee, then you're putting yourself behind in a game where you need to be trying to play catch-up, you know? Cyclone's in the center. We do see this Banshee from Kira around the right, and he's going to come in to pick away at some of these SCVs. First one down, second one going. I mean, Cyclones weren't here right away. Scans aren't ready either, so actually this Banshee's going to get a lot of damage done. Where are we at? Energy 41. Oh my god, he's going to get more kills. He's got 45 energy, 46 energy soon. In a second, the scan's going to go down, and that's going to be one dead Banshee, don't get me wrong, but I mean, 11 kills. Pure puts GuMiho into a real tough spot here. Banshee number 2. Down at the bottom. Next scan. 9 energy away. Picks up the SCV, building the 3rd CC, and GuMiho really is in trouble here. What a turnaround in this series. GuMiho went from being pretty dominant in Game 1, being really good in Game 2, and then just getting turned around into Game 3. It's all about Kira. Kira, he is absolutely killing it. Both players playing mech as well, by the way. Multiple factories up on either side. Banshee comes in again, gets another SCV building on the 3rd. Hyperflight Rotors on the way up. So Kira's actually going to give GuMiho a taste of his own medicine. Use those Hyperflight Rotor kind of Cyclone builds in Super Tournament. And Kira's obviously looked at those, adapted them, and said, okay, you know what? Let's do it then, buddy. I kind of like what you did to me. Let's see what you do to deal with it. I like it. Banshee comes in, I'm going to start picking up some SCVs in the main. Ooh, gets out of scan, turret range. And that's even more SCVs going down to the point where GuMiho just says, yep, good job, Kira, buddy. You've got this. On top of that previous money as well. Bottom right-hand side, match and tournament point. The blue Terran player from Janae Greenwings, Kira. Top left-hand side, our red Terran from Psystorm Gaming, it is GuMiho. what a turnaround in this series. From up and feeling good in Game 1, looking great in Game 2, into Game 3. In Game 2, it turned around. In Game 3, you just got completely bopped. That attempt to be aggressive did not work at all. And now, we have to look at that and say, well, what next? What does GuMiho try now? Because Kira suddenly looks real hot. This series is really quite something compared to their earlier series. I mean, if you imagine you put the barcodes on, right? These guys are barcoded up. You don't know who's playing. If you watch the first series and then the second series, you're probably like, well, that's probably like Master 1 versus like it's Master 1's fighting in the first series, and this is like GM level, right? And I mean, there's some bits and micro and some stuff that was in the first series that was good as well, but overall the series was a bit of a failure. And this is just crazy, and it's gonna get a bit crazy for this Grand Finals. Factory is early again from GuMiho. He does play double gas. This time it's Kira going into that single gas opener again. So once more just expanding with pressure on GuMiho to do something. But GuMiho will expand himself. You can see the pull out of gas, one worker in each. Means the expansion will be able to drop down early. And the factory will just build a tech lab here. So it's not hyper aggressive from GuMiho. It's also just safe in case Kira started to maybe say, okay, I'm a game up. Let's proxy Rax Reaper or so. See what might happen. Command center dropping down on each side of the map. Cyclone from GuMiho continuing to build. Going to be rallied on towards the Reaper. Two Reapers together. Down the middle of the map here. To the bottom. GuMiho. It's going to run into a bunker though, so not really much opportunity to deal damage here at all. It's going to come up, get a couple shots, and that's pretty much it already. Can't jump up here. Depot and the barracks walking. Job well done. As we see the Reapers back down to the low ground and back up into the center of the map. So the Reapers coming into the center. Command center is going to be finishing in a moment or two as well. Just rallying a couple of SCVs over on towards a couple of these mineral patches. Stimpack will start up from GuMiho as well. Two more barracks building in the main base. Just going to see Stimpack is coming in. So GuMiho going to real fast bio play. No starport at all. Really just rushing out the bio here at the moment. Up the left, Kier is going to go running along with this Reaper also. Back about halfway done as we see our factory going to begin a reactor. Again, just Cyclone hanging out in the corner of the base. Raven is about halfway done. Cyclone, Hellion, Marines gathering themselves up together. A couple more Marines coming in as well, and just going to see this army of Kira continuing to establish. We do have two Reapers in the center of the map. Stimpack is about to complete +1 attack on the engineering bay. Coming up as well. 5 Marines continuing out. Reaper from Kira. Continue to come along here. 2 more medevacs in production here on the reactor. Getting that up and running. More Marines being produced in the factory. Going to drop down a tech lab. Pops up, shut down instantly. Cyclone able to get that kill. Combat shields building here from GuMiho as well. Just want to attack on the engineering base. Still setting up into this. Third barracks finishing from Kira. We're going to have bio on bio for Game 4, potentially the last game of this series. We do have the 2 medevacs from GuMiho out into the middle of the map. First one attack now starting on the engineering base. Stimpack about halfway done. Another command center in the main base, and Cyclone's able to pick off the Reaper in the center as well. The medevac still boosting around the right side. Medevacs with Marines. Gonna be unloading, and that's gonna be a Cyclone from Kira coming in there. Ooh, nice play by GuMiho. Pulls that one Marine back instantly to get it off the lock on. Every Marine counts right now. Every man is an important man on this field. Will stem that Cyclone in trouble, chased all the way to the left. Will be chased down. One more Marines being produced. We still see this little Cyclone just chased away over to the left. Cyclone falls. It's GuMiho plays chase and wins. Combat shields now starting, and is a little bit behind on the +1 attack upgrade. CC number 3 is, I guess, a little bit ahead, so slight differences between the players here and there, but nothing too crazy. Marines unloading on the right as medevacs will escort those up the right-hand side. Kira looking for a backstab as GuMiho moves into the middle of the map. Combat shields from Kira is about to finish. We are going to see him able to maybe get a little bit of a backstab. Medevacs from GuMiho loaded up. Wants to drop. I mean, I feel like I've seen this in GSL. When he drops into the Marines, he just loses the game. But right now, he's going to lose the 3rd CC. Perhaps this backstab from Kira is very well done. Orbital command is burning. It's burning hard, and, well, I mean, at this point, Kira just commits to it. Loads up, gets to the main as well. No, not even. Just goes out the left. What a kill. That's huge. Now GuMiho is in a really tough position in terms of economy. Can he catch these 2 medevacs? That would be a small win after losing the 3rd CC. 1 medevac goes down. And again, a couple more Vikings on the way out. Scan into the main base, and that gives GuMiho a bit of info. Kira now starting to move his own 3rd out into location. 1 double drop chasing this around. He's going to see the armory dropping down into the natural engineering base, still upgrading. 3rd CC continuing to build up as you see missile turret. What was that? Was that an empty medevac? Guess so. Well, GuMiho is kind of setting up for attempt 2 of this drop into the main. There's still Marines here, though. There's a sensor tower up. How do you expect to deal damage dropping into it? I mean, Cyclone going to press in. I mean, I just don't like this at all for GuMiho, but he obviously feels like he has to do something. Down a CC. Ravens continuing to come in, +2 attack coming up. Oh, lag spikes here, guys. Not sure what's up with that. And Marines and tanks continue to gather out on the front, and still have the Marines in the main. They're just so ready for this every time. GuMiho is going to start chasing here. GuMiho, okay, he's going to hit an anti-armor missile on Marines. Marines are unloading from his opponent. Tanks are going to have to siege up here from Kira. I mean, that anti-armor missile will help a lot. He's dropping some auto turrets to tank some damage as well, and Kira is going to just about win out this fight. The tanks are going to do a lot more as reinforced Marines keep coming into this, but they're just running into a meat grinder. Marines now coming in. There was still Marines from the main, remember, and that's the only reason Kira didn't win this fight harder, because the Marines were still in the main base from defending that drop from getting off there in the first place, and now it means that Kira has an army advantage to go across the map with. Medevacs coming out to the left-hand side. 2-2 upgrades on the way up. Marines coming in, just gonna see what Medevac's gonna do. Yeah, we'll continue up the left. I mean, GuMiho's trying to drop around as well elsewhere. That 3rd base is unprotected, but so is the main. I mean, anywhere you go right now as Kira feels like a good decision. Gets to the main on top of the production. It's a must-defend position from GuMiho, because if you lose this production, well, that's just game, isn't it? As we see the tanks continue to fire, SCVs coming in. Marines running into this as well, as we're going to see Medivacs getting shot down. More Marines getting taken down as well. That's GG. GuMiho will type it out. And Cure is your WardiTV Summer Championship champion.